This week on Bearcat Outdoors, we're wrapping up rifle season and then going through the steps it takes to get ready for the late season. Check it out right now. Well, it's the end of November, rifle season's all wrapped up here in Missouri, and I did not fill my tag. It was a challenge this year hunting public land for the first time, and some other challenges is that rifle season brings out a lot of hunters, and that is great. It's a great time for people to get out and enjoy with family and friends, but it just does create a lot of challenges. For one, there's a lot of people out creating a lot of traffic. Two, there's not as many deer out there after they've been shot after that opening weekend. And with that, I really used this rifle season as more of a scouting mission to really learn this public land. I hunted different locations. I never really hunted the same spot twice unless I was seeing deer. With hunting these different spots, I was able to find a lot of different locations that have different food sources in preparing for the late season. With this warm weather we're having here in the Midwest, it's really not helping the hunting conditions at all. So with that, I'm going out and doing all my scouting that I can before the cold weather gets here. While out scouting, I'm moving tree stands, looking for sign, and using trail cameras to try to key in on a buck that maybe has made it in through the rifle season. With having multiple cameras out, setup of our food sources is key. Food is going to be the ticket for the late season. Whether it's grain or food plots that you put in early in the season, all the work that you put in this season will pay off big if you just stay consistent. Now, once you've done all your scouting, you got your tree stands moved, you got your trail cameras out, and you're getting information from those, all you're waiting on is the weather. Once you found that food and you get the weather, the deer are gonna be there. Beating the elements of this part of the season is huge. The deer are up on their feet, hitting those food sources, and you gotta be out there too. The best way I figured out how to do that is by layering and using body and hand warmers. When layering my clothes, I don't tend to wear everything that I have going into the tree stand. I will pack things and get dressed at the bottom of my tree stand. That way it keeps me from sweating. Because once you start sweating, your clothes underneath get wet, and when you sit in your tree stand, that sweat and stuff will begin to freeze. And once that happens, it's game over. You gotta go back to the truck because you're gonna freeze to death. Also, with having all those layers on, it becomes a little bit more of a challenge to pull your bow back and shoot. So make sure I always practice with all my layers on before I even go out hunting, and get a couple shots in with those extra layers to make sure that nothing's gonna hit while you release your bow, and you can still make that shot if that buck comes into range. After you've done all your scouting and you've got all your equipment ready, hunting in the afternoons seems to be the key. Trail camera information has always told us that most of the deer feeding happens in the afternoon whenever the cold weather hits. When getting into your stand, access is huge. You gotta watch your wind, make sure it's not blowing to where the deer are going to be or where they're bedding, and then the way you get in, such as using a kayak, is also a big advantage to you to be able to slip in and make sure those deer have no idea that you're there. With that, I'm gonna continue hunting hard, focusing on the food, trying to get in without spooking deer, hunting places where I don't think people have been, and just finish out the season strong and trying to fill a buck tag. And if that doesn't work, there are also some other seasons that are still underway, such as goose season and coyote season, and those seasons are just gonna get better as the weather gets colder. With coyote hunting, the cold weather gets them up on their feet and forces them to feed. And in this time, you can use a coyote distress call, whether it be a mouth call or an electronic call, and get those coyotes to come out of the cover and into range so you get a shot on them. Also with goose season, the cold weather is gonna push these geese from up north down here around our area, and we got lots of areas for them to feed. And if we can find out where they're roosting and feeding and get a nice spread set up, get some guys together, and go out and kill some birds, and enjoy the rest of the hunting season.
All right, we just got done checking the card and the camera. Before we got up in the tree, I went and grabbed the card. It's about 20 yards away from the stand, and I came out here and checked it 2 days ago, and we had one 10-pointer that had been here pretty often, and he's a real tall and tight 10-pointer. And we got 2 big bucks in here that we're getting on trail camera. 2 of them came last night and one of them came today, so I think it's going to be a really good evening. It'll be a sit tight and see some of these bucks, and who knows what's going to happen. Just shot that buck. That's the buck that we've been after. I've been hunting so hard for that deer. I mean, I've been out here so much. I've had Hondo film me, I've had Cody film me, I've had Chase film me. And it finally came together tonight. There's the arrow. It has blood all over it. I don't know if you can see it very well, but pretty good blood on it, and it's pretty far up. So I think we got ourselves a dead deer here. Here's Hondo. Oh boy. Oh, he is a freaking brute. Look at this deer. He's really stiff. Ugh. Look at that deer.